Greetings, Square Jerkle Jerk fans. It is I, Baron Von Mike, and I'm here with my tag team partner, Byron the Monstrosity.
Whoa, that's fair. That's actually pretty accurate.
It would definitely be a character you could pull off with your magnitude of size.
Rawr.
We're here to discuss NXT and also Impact Wrestling. We are continuing our efforts to give Impact a chance.
Hey man, so far so fucking good. It hasn't let me down yet.
That's true. That's true.
Better than Raw. You could quote me on that one.
And we'll probably have some crazy AEW theories over the course of the show, since of course that's kind of what everyone is doing. Talking about who might end up there and so on, and we'll probably have some ideas.
I just made a list. Actually, that's not true. Wikipedia made a list. I've got a list.
So without further ado, let's kick into the NXT. NXT opened up with Johnny Gargano having a little promo time.
It's good times. I like that time. They should have more of those times.
So Johnny kind of had a whole deal. He's not allied with Ciampa. It was a one-night deal. Ciampa is still a piece of garbage. He starts talking about titles, starts talking about the North American title.
Wins and titles.
Wins and titles. Wins and titles. And Mr. Ricochet comes out after he is referenced. And just basically tells Johnny, all you had to do was ask.
Correct.
And he wants to know if Gargano's going to be a man about this. He's going to fight Ricochet face to face. We're going to get Johnny wrestling versus the one and only. Or if he's going to backstab him like a, whining little brat.
Both of those are true.
And then we got Ciampa coming out here. Gargano basically telling him to fuck off. Alester Black is here on the screen. And he comes out in real life to attack Mr. Ciampa. And in the whole commotion, Ricochet gets a super kick from Johnny Gargano. So it's not going to be a face-to-face type deal.
Yeah, I like the way I sort of like the way they did this, in as much as Johnny Gargano was easily able to pull off the borderline chicken shit heel maneuver and still look damn cool doing it. And the fact that they're definitely bifurcating these feuds. They're drawing, this is a fork in the road. One DIY guy is going one way, one DIY guy is going the other way, and there was a big DIY chant, and Johnny's like, no, but he wasn't protesting that much.
I very much enjoyed the Alester Black portion of the promo. It was really good.
Yeah, fantastic. They should do that with him from now on. They should just pre-record big billboard style, all up in your face, and I've got hiccups. This is amazing. The commentary, you won't believe. It's just going to be the best. And I'm controlling it, and no more hiccups. Wow, isn't that I did that live.
Fantastic.
Live on time.
Live, if you will.
Indeed.
Yeah, this whole feud can't really go in bad directions. Any combination of these four men is gonna be a great match. So.
Oh no, we'll have 2 5-star matches per night. How will I deal with my life?
And there's a lot of ways that it can go, which keeps it unpredictable. Keeps you guessing it. Where does this road eventually end up? And
evil DIY.
Very nice. Evil DIY is an option.
I want them to take a whole year. I don't want the evil DIY until like. Oh boy. You know what? I don't even want evil DIY until TakeOver next WrestleMania. I want that to be a thing. I want them to take low and slow all the way. They'll, in August they'll cross paths again, and in November they'll cross paths again, and then right before WrestleMania, evil DIY. DIY Negro.
And of course, on another note, I really do like Tomasso Ciampa's theme music, so there you go.
Yeah, I just need it to be played more often so I recognize that as him.
Yeah. I did have a quick moment there when his theme song started, and I'm like, hey, who's coming out now? And I'm like, oh, it's Ciampa's theme. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, literally the only theme song there's a few, but not too many. But really the only one recognizable in the entire franchise is the one and only.
Gargano's is pretty distinct at this point.
It always takes me like 3 seconds to figure out. It still takes me three or 4 seconds to figure out who is that again. Oh, right. But as soon as one and only, you know who that is.
That's true. We get a quick confirmation that William Regal has made the Undisputed Era versus the War Raiders for TakeOver. Not surprising.
Nope. And
then we had Bianca Belair and Nikki Cross, and I had a couple problems here. Number one, this is NXT has done this before, where they advertise a double main event, and then you get one of those matches like early in the show, making it not a main event.
Not even close.
And that was the case here. And the other thing that I had a problem with this was we've in the past said some less than flattering things about Bianca Belair in terms of how good she is and so on. I
was going to say some borderline nice things today.
See, I'm kind of in the opposite boat here. I saw Nikki Cross versus Bianca Belair. What was it, like a month and a half ago at this point, where they had their little feud, and to be blunt, it was better than this, which
I would disagree.
Okay, why did you prefer this to the prior engagement of these two wrestlers?
Because other than her nappy-ass weave, snap girlfriend, I can't point to anything that was very bad. Everything in this match was at least acceptable. And so, cool, she's finally on this, she's finally at that level. She's finally ready to graduate from wrestling school level. The problem is that they've had her on TV for, 2 years now? Year and a half?
About 2 years, yeah.
About 2 years. She's been on TV. You've been spending TV time on somebody who is not trained at all and not ready to inhabit a character, not ready at all in any way, shape, or form. You've been wasting TV time on this person. But you made Donovan Dijak sit on the sidelines for a year and a half, 2 years.
There are other examples of that even.
That's the biggest one I can point to. That's the
biggest, probably the most egregious is Dijak, yes.
Yeah, there's nothing more egregious than making Donovan Dijak sit on the sidelines for 2 years. There's nothing that bad. And yet you're pushing. I understand that the WWE, Vince McMahon, let's be honest, Vince McMahon himself wants a bigger pussy pool. That's how he views them. I'm going to be real blunt up front about that. Vince McMahon wants a big pussy pool. Vince McMahon is not interested in female wrestlers, is not interested in credible female champions, is not interested in credible female... He wants pussy.
In fairness, you're basically working the word wrestler in there a lot when we know that Vince McMahon doesn't care about wrestling.
That's also true. But Vince McMahon's not interested in female wrestlers or credibility. He wants pussy on TV for dudes to go, oh my gosh, she's so hot. That's all he wants. And if, we're lacking in this particular demographic, we don't have a hot, muscular black chick, let's just push her as hard as you can, as fast as you can, into positions she doesn't deserve to be in, and things she hasn't earned. Whereas you've got people like Nikki, and to be honest, this whole episode of NXT was completely predictable because everybody on this card that was slated to lose has been called up to the main roster 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, something like that.
Well, except for the Job Squad. But again, being a Job Squad, that's also fairly predictable.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, everybody's slated to lose, and you knew they were going to lose. You knew Nikki Cross was going to lose to Blanca Blair because they still can't pronounce her name right on commentary. And you knew EC3, they were both going to lose because that's how they exit people out of NXT. You do the job on your way out, which is a time-honored tradition. Fantastic. I applaud
But
that.
it's a time-honored...
But it's also a giant waste of fucking momentum.
It's also a time-honored tradition when you're leaving a company. They're not leaving a company. They're going to the bigger promotion.
It's a graduation.
It's a graduation. And to me... Now, don't get me wrong. I kind of like it that the champions drop their belt. Sometimes. I don't want the opposite to be true where you're going to the big roster so you always win. I think that's also a problem. But I think the fact that you're going to the main roster and you always lose, and there are exceptions, and it's basically Asuka and Lars Sullivan, basically.
Yeah.
The only two that didn't job on their way out. And there may be more.
Let's not be too hasty. Lars Sullivan still isn't on the main roster yet. He
That's
may
true.
job.
But it seems potentially we've seen the last of Lars Sullivan in NXT, and he did get a win over Keith Lee on his way out.
To be honest, I thought we'd seen the last of Lars Sullivan in NXT a full fucking year ago.
That's also true.
Jesus Christ.
Honestly, I thought we'd seen the last of EC3 in NXT a while ago, but
I mean, he had the concussion from the Velveteen Dream around SummerSlam. And they didn't call him up and just move him up. Don't ever send him back to NXT. Just move him up.
Or
why bother?
You should be bringing people to the main roster hot. They should be coming up most of the time off of a win. Now, obviously, like I said, you want to be unpredictable to a degree. So, I mean, constructing a purely hypothetical situation here that going to the main roster is... let's say Mr. Keith Lee down the road. And he's got a match with...
move him up immediately. Him and Donovan Dijak should be on the main roster right fucking now.
Well, the irony is he has a match with Donovan Dijak on his way out. You want to really build Dijak, you maybe give him the win in that case. And in this case with Nikki Cross and Bianca Belair, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's the fact that it's always the move is to job out the person going to the main roster.
Yeah.
Like it is predictable. It is, we know exactly what's going to happen. And I thought this match was a little bit awkward, in my opinion. There was nothing god-awful terrible. I will agree with you on that one. There was nothing.
No, it's finally competent.
Mm-hmm. But there were some moments where she didn't really know what to do with Nikki Cross. And to a degree, I understand that because Nikki Cross is a bit of a weird wrestler because she's crazy in character, and it does make it
but in character only. Like in terms of wrestling, she does some weird, frantic stuff here and there, but she doesn't do it with people. She does it environmentally. She does it with the ropes, with the fans around the ring, on the mat. She doesn't do weird, frantic shit with other wrestlers. She does wrestling moves with other wrestlers. And, you could point to, right off the bat, where she hit Blanca Blair with the crossbody. Right off the bat. That was Blanca Blair dropping the ball. You could tell right there she didn't know how to take a crossbody. And I'm going to call it right now. You can write this in stone, underline, italicize, anything, launch it into space to hover around Mars with fucking Elon Musk's car if you want. Bianca Belair is going to be the biggest thing in female wrestling because she is essentially Hulk Hogan. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because I have never seen her take a bump ever. They did the spot where she did the vertical suplex where Nikki Cross was supposed to counter that into a pendulum DDT, only Blanca Blair decided to turn it into just a rollover and refused to take the spot whatsoever. There was another one of those in this match, and I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I have never seen her pay off somebody else's big move and take a bump. That's never happened. She will be the biggest female wrestler ever. She will figure out a way to politic her way into all that stuff. She will avoid bumps. She'll never take a finish. She will figure something out somewhere where it's to her advantage. She will never, ever, ever do a job without getting her own back. I have no reason not to believe that what I'm saying is 100% true.
I can recall her taking a bump, but it was very early on into coming into the company.
To follow up my point, they did the spot where Nikki Cross got up to the top rope, and then Blanca Blur did the gorilla press, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, she didn't. If you watch that back, Nikki Cross got up to the top rope, basically laid down across Blanca Blur's locked arms so that Blanca Blur did not have to do any work at all. All you have to do is keep your elbows locked and have some sort of physical strength at all, which she clearly does. Like, I'm not taking anything away from her in terms of physical ability. It's just experience, psychology, and how to actually work a match that's the problem.
No, it's absolutely not there. And that's what I mean is I thought this was even a more glaring example of this than their draw match a little while ago, which maybe that was because Nikki just got to do more shit. Maybe that's why I'm remembering it more fondly. Is that a bigger percentage of it was Nikki and a smaller percentage of it was Bianca, and as a result, we didn't really see Bianca have her shortcomings that we saw in this match because she did not have to win that match. Maybe I'll actually go back and watch that match and see if I still have that same opinion, but I definitely came off of this match feeling more negative about Blair than I did with that match prior.
That's entirely possible, but I thought in this particular match, with all the shit I'm pointing out, they did a really excellent job of hiding a lot of it. But I saw through it because I'm, an actual wrestling fan, and I know what I'm looking at. I'm not an idiot. So when they do disguised strength spots and do these, I'm not taking your finisher, I'm not doing the bump, I'm not doing the job for you spots, I've seen that. I've seen Hulk Hogan do it his entire fucking dumbass career. I've seen him submarine so many people it's not funny. That's why I think she's going to be the biggest thing in female wrestling ever.
Yeah, definitely if WWE wants to push her like that. But, I don't know. Kind of mixed on the whole matter.
I'm not mixed at all. I think she's finally becoming competent in the ring. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, she's getting closer to becoming competent, and it will get there. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a shame they wasted so much TV time on somebody who's finally ready to be on TV.
Yeah. We had a Street Profits promo. Actually,
that was fucking not good.
I enjoyed this more than their prior promos.
Listen, one of them's dressed like Big DeVito, or DeVito from the
I don't remotely understand the wardrobe choices of this team.
Yeah, one of them's dressed like DeVito from the Baldies, and one of them's dressed like Will.i.am after he decided to stop making actual music. I'm supposed to take these guys seriously. I love DeVito. DeVito's great, but seriously, what the fuck?
What I was saying though about this being better is it seemed like they were reading the script less than what it was before. So they've either given them more time to rehearse the promo, or they've given them more input into the promo. Whatever it is, it's a higher quality than what they were. That does not make it good, because their prior promos were absolutely terrible.
This one was just slightly less terrible.
Yeah. Basically, they talk about they're blocked out of stuff. They're going to open some doors this year, and aside from not seeming as scripted and being a little bit more energetic, I don't have a tremendously large amount of nice things to say about the content of the promo or the wardrobe choices.
No, I mean, you got all day. These guys have been on the shelf for a year. Just take more time. Send the crew and say, take all day if you have to. And come back with something good. I like the door thing. The door thing, the conceptually, the door thing was good. I liked that idea. But they didn't have the rhythm, and they didn't have the patter. I don't think these guys hang out. I'm getting the impression that these guys do not like each. It's not that they don't like each other, but they don't hang out. They're not particularly friendly, maybe. I don't know, but these guys don't. They're not in sync. They don't have a rhythm. They don't have an internal pattern. They don't have. They've been tagging together for what, 3 years, 4 years,
somewhere in that general ballpark.
And they don't feel like they're a team. Like they're not. They feel like, oh, we got like this draft pick in, and you're gonna have to play with him for like 6 months until the off season type scenario.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world to me. They are definitely the most disjointed tag team on the roster, which is weird when you consider that Oney Lorcan and
they're not supposed to be friends at all.
Yeah, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch weren't supposed to be friends. We're going to talk about a tag team in a second here, but it's Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel.
Dude, those guys got a future. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Who just got together and have a superior level of chemistry to these guys. So
yeah, the only thing I'm going to point to the Fabian Eichner, Marcel Bartel thing is they went, like, Fabian Eichner went for the handshake early, and Eichner was selling the superior snobby bitch thing and did not have a clue. And you could see that Eichner's like, hey.
Got a handshake here. Speaking of which, we had Eichner and Bartel versus the Job Squad.
Skinny job guy versus and other job guy.
In fairness, they let the jobber guys get some decent offense in, and it makes me think that they have some plans for Mr. Kunzman and Mr. Watts.
Am I the only one who was laughing at that guy's name the whole time?
I was.
Giggledy goo.
So, I mean, this was a squash match with a little bit of offense for the jobbers, which makes me think that they're gonna stick around. They're a project of some description for NXT, which is, fair enough. It's a good way to get them on TV for a little quick pick. And they were pretty competent, actually. They didn't, when they were on offense, it was perfectly fine. When they were selling, there wasn't any problems.
Well, I mean, to put things in perspective, these guys who are designated job guys, what's up. These guys are not dressed the same. They don't have a team name. There's nothing going on there. Versus two guys who are dressed exactly the same, came out together, they did not get the jobber entrance. You know who's going to get squashed and who isn't. And the job guys are way more coordinated than Bianca Belair. I'm just putting that out there. You can draw a 1-to-1 comparison.
I did like the whole finish of the power bomb into German suplex. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a fun and not really a finisher I've seen a tremendously large amount of, despite being two relatively common moves. So
I think if I may critique gently, I would have Eichner do like at least one running step, like back up into the corner, do one or maybe 1.5 or 2 running steps before heaving the dude and letting your boy Marcel Bartel do the German suplex. That's the only thing I would change about that. I just want a little bit more to it.
Yeah, no, I could see that making it even better. We had a Ricochet promo. He has no response for no respect, not no response. For Gargano.
He ain't happy.
And he whether William Regal's going to make it happen or not, he wants that match. And then we had a Keith Lee promo where he found Cassius Ohno's attack on Matt Riddle to be unsettling. And he invites...
I wanted... at the end of this promo, I really wanted your boy, Chris Hero, to smash him in the back of the head with an elbow.
That would have been very cool.
Been so cool.
He invites Cassius Ohno for a lesson in respect next week, and he will bask in his unlimitedness.
That's what I wanted. Is like, I want to have a match next week. Boom! Bitch, I'm here this week.
Yeah, but we had to save the remaining time for EC3 versus Adam Cole, with the EC3 doing the job.
Yeah, I knew EC3 was going to do the job. The match was to Adam Cole standards, which means it's fine. It's fine to pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with the match. Didn't have a problem. That's all I can really say.
Yeah, nah. Adam Cole and EC3 both have the tendency to not give me matches that I want to go and watch again and again. But I also don't find offensive, and their character work generally is very, very good, and that was pretty much all this was. A little bit of interference by the air to set up the win by their leader.
The only thing I would change is I would never have EC3 do the EC3 anymore. Like, never again. Seriously, dude. You need to actually have people that are going to do your chant. You can't do, say my name, EC3, and nobody cheers, nobody chants, nobody follows you. Dude, this is the 9th time in a row I've seen you do this. And nobody does your chant. Which is
very, very weird, because when he came in, they were all over the hotness, and not so much anymore.
You just need to. I think the problem is that he starts out, say my name, E-D-D. Just don't anymore. Make the symbols. If that's what if you want to be The Rock, make the symbols. Do the rock bottom elbow swing. Whatever the fuck you want to do, pretty boy. And let the crowd do it on their own.
Who's the better Rock imitation, Eli Drake or EC3?
Well, EC3 is in better shape, but Eli Drake does a better vocal impression. So it's kind of tied 50-50.
It's a bit of a column A, column B type of deal.
Yeah, because he's got the E-D-D. Like, that timing is perfectly exactly the same as the rock bottom elbow pad 1, 2 swing, hit the ropes. It's exactly the same thing. Just stop vocalizing, you monkey. Just stop.
And then we got the era swarming EC3, War Machine, or I'm going to call him War Machine for the love of God.
Just
War
do it.
Raiders.
Dude, it's War, dramatic pause, legally copyrighted Raiders.
That's true.
Or legally distinct, one or the other.
Mr. Rowe and Mr. Hansen come out to save EC3 and beat up the era, which puts them over strong, which, is why they'll do the job when they face the era again.
Yeah.
Titles.
Oh, no, they're moving them up to... so, to finish that episode of NXT off, let's address the calling up of people to NXT.
Certainly.
So we've got this crop of NXT call-ups. You got your boy, Lars Sullivan. You got EC3. You got Nikki Cross. You got War Machine. And who else? There's one more.
I don't remember. I'll Google it while you continue.
Anyway. Oh, Lacey Evans. There you go.
Ah, sweet.
Boom.
Jesus, why?
Boom! So there's the corner point of my thing. So there are very distinct and strong rumors that they're calling up disposable call-ups. They're called disposable in a variety of ways. Don't get it twisted. So like Lars Sullivan and EC3 are disposable in as much as you can instantly slot them into whatever monster role or big time role, a la Drew McIntyre type scenario, right? You like these guys are going to be like Drew McIntyre, Brownie the Strongman type scenarios. You just slot them in and they're good. You just let them run, do whatever. But you've also got like War Machine, who's instantly disposable because nobody does tag team wrestling in WWE, so they're just trash. You just don't bother.
If you are not the Usos or the New Day, you are screwed.
Yeah, or the Bar.
Yep. Although at some point the Bar will be screwed. That's my theory.
Correct, because they're European, very European.
Yeah, and Triple H isn't buddy with Sheamus anymore, which was basically the only reason Sheamus... Basically, well, they're not workout buddies anymore. Now, they might still be friendly or whatever. I don't know of any heat. But...
I've seen a couple of interviews. I don't remember who did the interview, but I remember one guy straight up asked him, like, there's big time rumors that you get all this kind of... all of these pushes because you workout buddies with Triple H. He's like, that's not true at all. So...
Well, he's, of course, not going to say that.
Yeah, but he seemed a little pissed off about it. So maybe a lot of people asked him, and whatever.
Like, here's the thing. Does he even really know if he was, like... Because if we rewind back the clock here a bit. When Sheamus got his big push, the crowd was pretty into it. The merchandise sales were pretty high. There was every sign that this was a somewhat authentic push to the top of a guy who had won over segments of the crowd, if not the crowd as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I have to say to that is that we know Vince McMahon's tendency to not care about how over you are.
Or wrestling at all.
And we know Vince McMahon's tendency to not really have any interest in pushing foreigners at all.
If you have a deep enough tan, you're fucked.
And the thing that separates a Sheamus from a Cesaro, a Rusev, go down the list, a Wade Barrett, etc., is that he was a foreigner, mildly over with the people, who also happened to be Triple H's workout buddy. So it's kind of hard not to think that plays a certain role, because we know WWE has a history of, number one, nepotism, and number two, pushing whoever they really want. See Roman Reigns.
Yeah, well, the flip side of that is your boy Enzo More, who apparently was a workout buddy of Triple H and got thrown to the curb pretty fucking fast and didn't get protected backstage either.
The thing with that, though, is that Enzo's backstage behavior was probably more of a Shawn Michaels level of drawing heat to himself backstage, creating problems. And Michaels was always presented because he already, or was always protected in that regard, because he already was one of the biggest stars in the company. He was a moneymaker. Vince feared losing him to WCW or other up-and-coming promotions. Even though
that would have been interesting.
I don't think he would have gone, because I just think his drug addictions would have probably spiraled out of control. But
seriously, it's WCW.
Yeah. Enzo, number one, he doesn't have anywhere to go. We've talked about this somewhat at length, is that there are certain people in WWE that I am frustrated with not leaving the company. And with all Elite Wrestling being a thing, I hope some of them do. I'm looking at a Ty Dillinger, a Zack Ryder, guys who are good wrestlers to very good wrestlers.
Basically most of the tag fucking division.
Yes. But when you look at a guy like Enzo, who really cannot work a match, where else is he going to go in wrestling? Which has kind of been proven because he's now pursuing basically the career of a not very good rapper since leaving the company.
Jesus Christ.
And I've also said that it's a similar problem with women's wrestlers because there isn't really a place for them to go. Again, hopefully All Elite fixes that problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they've got a female executive.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what the money in the mouth and the similar places. Let's see what that is.
And my thing is, I don't know for a fact that let's say Sheamus gets to exactly where he got to without being Triple H's workout buddy. It's hard to piece together the logical reasons for why that happened, because there have been more over foreign stars in very much the same time frame that did not get that same push.
Yep.
And it's just, if there's one thing that stands out about Sheamus in his rise, and I want to say this, I like Sheamus. I was a big fan of Sheamus. I have a Sheamus t-shirt. I would buy another Sheamus t-shirt. Him and Cesaro are a phenomenal tag team. I would rate them top 5 in the world.
The Year the Bear.
But I also have to be realistic in this matter that foreigners don't get pushed in WWE. They don't care about crowd reactions, so anytime you want to bring up merchandise numbers or anything like that, doesn't matter. Because we've seen they've refused to push American talents that have good merchandise sales.
Yeah.
Like Zack Ryder. So, yeah, I have to assume that you look at it, he was Triple H's main big buddy, got a push. Stop being Triple H's main workout partner, not so pushed. So, it's hard not to read into that, let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's fair. So, tying that all back in together, the prevailing theory right now is that Triple H is stalling for time with NXT talent. He's throwing people up to the main roster, and they're not releasing any. You'd notice in the last 2 or 3 years, they really haven't released anybody. The last 2 years, maybe. They really haven't released anybody, and Triple H has been feeding a steady drip of NXT talent to the main roster that never gets matches, doesn't get pushed, they instantly killed Asuka. As soon as Asuka got to the main roster, time to kill that shit. Time to kill that shit off hard. There's way too much money to be made there.
I would say, honestly, that a better example would be AOP, which have really been were really forgotten for a long ass time, and actually Insanity would be probably the best example.
Yeah,
they
probably.
have no real role on the main roster at all. Asuka has a role, she's just being not utilized to her fullest.
Yeah, so the prevailing theory right now is that Triple H is throwing up the biggest softballs possible for a couple of different, in a couple of different categories. The biggest, throw Lacey Evans out there. She ain't shit. Probably ain't never going to be shit because you don't know how to push her. You don't know she doesn't know what she's doing yet. And just fuck, okay, get her. Nikki Cross is an easy one. If you fuck that up, you're the biggest trash bags in the world, which we already know you are, so you're gonna fuck that up really badly.
Go hard. I mean, they fucked up her male counterparts already, so
yeah. The only way you can fuck that up is not put it on TV, and they did that. Fucking Jesus Christ. But he's holding back Gargano and Ciampa. He's holding back guys like Velveteen Dream, even though Velveteen Dream's going on, which I kind of think is really funny. Velveteen Dream going on Twitter, everybody harass Vince McMahon to get me on the main roster. I'm like, dude, you do not want that. You're just another. No. You're gonna be the next Orlando Jordan. They're gonna specifically bring JBL back just to fuck you up, and then kick you out of the company. That's how that's gonna work.
That wouldn't surprise me.
So it's the prevailing rumors, theories, and suggestions are that Triple H is playing for time until Vince can't possibly not commit the entirety of his last 3 brain cells exclusively to the XFL to prove that he isn't a total failure in life. And then he's just going to do what he wants. Which will tie in very neatly with SmackDown going to is it Fox?
It is Fox, yes.
Okay,
Trying to fill that void left by the UFC's departure.
Yeah, so, and Fox apparently wants a more sports-based product. So they're not going to have any choice but to make SmackDown an actual wrestling program. Wow, who thought that was ever going to happen? And so I think Triple H is playing for time. He's eventually going to move real wrestlers onto SmackDown. They do have a fair amount already, and they are putting on, as I understand it, a much better product than Raw. I've heard nothing but good things about the last 4 or 5 episodes of SmackDown, and I'm kind of tempted to actually watch an episode, but not tempted that much.
He also kind of sent up people that I think you could redeem from Vince's booking, or, main roster booking, whether you want to say that's Vince or people trying to make Vince happy. You take your pick.
It's either Vince or Vince's guys.
Yeah, but Lars Sullivan, big monstrous giant, we could totally redeem him if you fuck him up a little bit. Yeah. EC3 has that charisma, that cachet, we could redeem him. Lacey Evans we could redeem because... Well, we could drop this stupid Southern Belle.
She doesn't know what she's doing now, so you might as well be able to mold her later.
Yeah, we could drop the Southern Belle gimmick, turn her into a patriotic, symbol ass badass.
Dude, you could turn her into Sonya Blade right now.
There you go.
Right now. Today, this very instant, you could turn her ass into Sonya Blade from Mortal Kombat. You would have... every single dime of every single money of every single wallet,
or even an American Cammy from Street Fighter. Boom.
I'm also fine with that if it includes costume, because I'm a sexist pig.
But yeah, very easy to redeem that. War Raiders is one of your larger physical tag teams, very veteran as well.
But they're too small.
Redeem that. You can redeem that if you're doing a more sports entertainment or sports over entertainment oriented wrestling product for Fox.
Yeah, I guess.
Because you would probably get rid of guys who are appreciably larger than them.
If that's the kind of product you're going for, I would much rather have AOP than War Machine.
Despite thinking that War Machine is a better tag team, in terms of WWE, I think AOP just has the more upside, period. It doesn't really matter what particular type of product you're aiming for.
Yeah, it's fantasy booking warfare that you never really thought would be any good come to life. They hire Cyrus the Virus away from Impact and reform the Truth Commission with War Machine, thus giving War Machine an actual warlike countenance in a real world war type scenario with Don Callis.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm frankly fine with anything that involves Cyrus the Virus. Let's be
pretty much
real.
The Yackle.
So, we have anything else to throw on top of that, or shall we proceed over to Impact?
Impact. Ooh.
Impact Wrestling. We open up with Johnny Impact talking about basically how important his wife is. And cutting a promo on Killer Kross. Cage interrupts. He wants the rematch. Doesn't care about his wife.
Time out. I got totally confused for half a second when you said Johnny Impact. And I thought Johnny Gargano talking about his wife. I'm like, he didn't do that. Oh, no.
It's a good time to be named Johnny in professional wrestling.
Dude, Johnny Gargano and Johnny whatever as a tag team.
Johnny multi-name.
Double J.
So basically Cage wants a title shot tonight. Johnny doesn't want to give it to him. He wants to deal with Killer Kross tonight. Wants to get a revenge for his wife. Killer Kross comes out. Killer Kross on the mic was amazing in this segment. Comes out. He's like, Johnny Impact's an imposter. Brian Cage had you pinned for 10 seconds, which means he beat you 3 times in one night. And instead of being a gracious champion, the Superman to your Clark Kent, and giving him the belt and admitting that he beat you, you declared yourself the real champ and won the match, and I am so proud of you.
The thing that I took away from this promo is A, everything you said about Killer Kross, but B, I want that as a thing. I legit want some, like, I can think of face Danielson, face Gargano, and Tanahashi. Those are the three only guys I think you could do that with, where they would have that much integrity to be like, no, listen, you legit pinned me. It might not show on the record book, but you are the real champion. You truly have defeated me. It's beyond question. This title is yours. You can't do that. I can't think of a fourth person you could do that with that has that much integrity.
I think you could book over a period of time someone to that level.
Sami Zayn, face Sami Zayn.
Face Sami Zayn, yes.
I don't think you could even do it with AJ Styles. I don't think he doesn't have that demeanor.
No, I don't think that would work. I'm gonna throw a Colt Cabana as a possible option.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I could get along with that.
But anyways, Cage, he's gonna put Ty back in the hospital once she gets right back out, and then we get a 3-way brawl for a little bit there. In the end, we end up with Johnny Impact getting taken out, Killer Kross nailing Cage, who no-sells it like a boss.
Yeah.
Killer Kross just backs away. Like, I don't actually want any of this. This leads to basically a no DQ match, Kross versus Impact. There's too many C's in this whole thing. Well, it's a K, but
correct.
Still.
Needs to be some Q's.
Yeah, Cage is yelling at Impact. Impact agrees. You get the rematch when I am done with Kross.
And he gives his word.
Mm-hmm.
Which, honestly, I kind of believe. He did it real well. I kind of believe that maybe Johnny Nitro is really going to keep his word on this one.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to go full heel with him.
Which can be done.
It can be done. I mean, this whole storyline can go a lot of different ways. I mean, that's part of why it's so good.
Yeah, I mean, everybody could be heel or face. I honestly believe Killer Kross could totally come out the face on this one.
That would be interesting. That would be the hardest one to pull off, but that would be interesting. I don't think so.
Motherfucker does nothing but speak truth. He's honest. He's upfront. He doesn't say anything that's not delusional. He doesn't say any delusional shit. He, like, maybe in slightly, I'm going to put her right back in the hospital. No, I believe that shit. Like, he totally will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude does nothing but speak truth.
Dude, absolutely. Like, going back to the pay-per-view for a second, that was probably one of the best scoop-up power bombs into the crowd I've ever seen, because he picked her up, and there was no struggle. There was zero. It was like he wasn't even trying. It's just like, this is so easy for me. Bam! There you go.
Yeah. Like, he does nothing but speak truth. He's only delusional in as much as your average dude, like, I could beat that guy up. Right? Like, he's only that far delusional, and there's nothing ridiculous. He's a little bit mysterious. He may be a little bit mysterious about his motives and, like, his intentions and his goals. Not really his motives. I think he's pretty upfront about that, but the goals, like...
Well, his goal in this whole thing seems actually reasonably simplistic. He's making it very clear to Mr. Johnny, and even has a promo later on saying this, that I could be your best ally, or the worst enemy you've ever had.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Does that mean he wants to manage the champion, or does that mean he wants to be the champion?
It seems like he wants to manage the champion. Like that, if
but he's so fucking tough. He can do whatever he wants physically.
Yeah, but he also managed Austin Aries before this, if you recall, and is technically Moose's manager as well. Like, Killer Kross has been kind of like this kind of weird manager character in Impact, which is a bit weird because he's incredibly physically imposing.
Yeah, so that's the part I'm confused on, is because he does like awesome, badass, cool physical stuff. And he's clearly a good wrestler. But he keeps talking like if the thing's coming out of his mouth are wrestler speak or manager speak.
That's kind of the thing. He is insert your favorite manager mixed with some kind of monster heel who attacks people for the manager to persuade them to join his stable. He's just kind of both of those guys in the same body.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me, that's the storyline. That I think he wants Johnny Impact to basically replace Austin Aries in his stable. You beat Aries. You took Aries away from me. Now you got to pay up.
That seems fair.
That's my read on it, but it can go different ways. We had a Rascals versus Lucha Brothers tag team match. It was Desmond, Xavier, and Wentz. So no Trey Miguel in this one. This was everything you'd probably want to see from these two particularly high-paced flying tag teams. And the finish was amazing because the Lucha Brothers hit a combo package pile driver, Weapon X gory special super kick kind of thing. And
Jesus, this was like all the things that ever happened.
Yeah, this was very good. Go watch this match.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had the Kross. Then we had the Kross promo, which I more or less covered when we were talking about the Impact promos, and not much to add on that. It was the best ally, worst enemy thing. We then had Rich Swann come out to the ring, which, nothing special here until Sami Callihan comes out to interrupt. And as much as Callahan's content is nothing amazing, to be honest, his delivery makes everything so very good. And he's here to reference the history he has with Rich and basically offer him an OVE spot. Although the word offer is not quite correct.
Threw it in his face and said, "Put this on."
Yeah. A demand to take the spot, if you will. Willie Mack comes out. He brawls with Callahan. Rich tries to play Peacemaker, and this leads into a Willie Mack versus Sami Callihan match, which didn't really hold a candle to the pay-per-view match, but was still damn good. Highlight being the pile driver on the outside stage by Callahan on Mack, and Mack managing to get back in before the 10 count. Big counter roll-up spot to end the match, and there was also a standing moonsault. We were watching with Travis Wallace from the ESR guys, and which, if you're interested in racing, go check out the ESR Racing Channel.
Yeah, boy.
We do commentary there. And Travis, I told Travis right from the beginning, Willie Mack does not wrestle in the manner that you probably expect him to, and the standing moonsault did a great job of making that clear.
That was fantastic. He hit the standing moonsault, which you and I both know was coming way down the line. And he hit the standing moonsault, and Travis was like, "What the fuck? Oh my god!"
So that was good. That was great. We had a little bit of LAX promo time. Nothing really happened here except for they ran into OVE and then kind of blew past them on the way out. So maybe we revisit that faction warfare, which is fine. I'm fine with it. We had the Scarlett Boudreaux striptease deal. And basically, she came out. She's going to take her clothes off. The Indian crew is out here to interrupt. Scott Steiner shows up to destroy some Indians. Gamma basically has a heart attack or something. Yeah. That was a bit
What is a
weird.
Desi?
I don't know.
And why is it a hit squad of Desis?
I don't know.
That needs some explanation.
This faction, I missed when this faction started coming into Impact.
Yeah.
Maybe it was explained then.
I don't know.
But it hasn't been explained since. Anyways,
it was a long drawn out way of Big Papa Pump beating the shit out of some dudes, even though he's too old to do that. And then Scarlett Boudreaux took off her silk nightgown to reveal some fetching lingerie, but she's still not as hot as the chick that's signed to AEW. Pick one of the three.
Yeah. Well, she's somewhere in the middle if she were to sign with AEW. Personal opinion. Now she dyed her hair red again. Ooh. because the redhead
Yeah,
Scarlet.
that was weird.
Thing.
Like, I didn't understand why she was called Scarlet, and then apparently, yeah, one of the guys on commentary is like, "Whoa, redhead," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this... I don't know.
It was
whatever.
fine.
It's fine.
It was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. You give Big Papa Pump a paycheck because he desperately needs it to keep his internal organs functioning, and it's fine. I don't really care.
Yeah. And, Big Papa Pup now pretty much the undisputed master of the lap dance on TV because got one from Stacy Keibler and now got one from Scarlett Boudreaux.
There you go.
We had a Gail Kim promo talking about how she will fight back against Tessa if Tessa's going to be a bully. Then we had Tessa kill Kaylee Collins for a job match. We had Eddie Edwards have a promo, which basically just brought us into Eli Drake setting up a feud with him. You really liked Eli Drake's work in the promo.
Yeah, he's got a great. He's great. He is essentially a short, not built white Dwayne Johnson. That doesn't he doesn't lean too hard on The Rock, but he's got the same rhythm as The Rock, same sort of vocal tone as The Rock, but it's fine. Like, I'll let it pass.
And then we had a bit of a vignette with Su Yung and Allie. They're checking out Rosemary's Coffin and random spooky shit. And there's a message on the coffin saying "Rejoin the Shadow." So more to come with that storyline, which is great. Yep. I do hope they let Rosemary heal up the knee before giving her an actual match, though.
Oh dear Lord, yes.
Yeah, because she was not moving well at the pay-per-view.
She's had a rough 2 years.
That she definitely has. Killer Kross versus Johnny Impact. No DQ match. We did get some plunder. We got a table set up early. Some stairs. A lot of chairs. A lot of chairs.
This was a half funk amount of chairs.
Yeah.
This was not the full funk, just a half funk.
Killer Kross gets buried in chairs. Mundo does the moonsault with a chair in his hands on top of it and hits himself in the face with the chair legs. That's that's not a great botch. And then Kross just basically gets out from under. Is like, whoa! And they're like taking turns throwing chairs into the ring. Like, after you, sir. After you.
I like that spot. That was good.
I really like that spot, yes.
It was really good. I like the fact that this match was able to make me forget that they set up the table. I've not had a match do that in very long time. Like even New Japan matches where... New Japan matches are easier to keep track of that stuff because they're only going to do one. So if somebody brings one out, that's going to happen at some point. But I totally forgot that pretty early in the match, they pulled out a table. And I until Homeboy went through it, I'd totally forgotten. So they did an excellent job of all the other shenanigans they were doing, and up the ramp and down the ramp, and the chairs, and the in the audience and out of the audience, and this, that, and the other. They did a good enough job. I forgot that even happened. That's saying a lot.
Absolutely. Also, Killer Kross has the same sunglasses as me, so, even bigger fan.
There you go.
Anyways, Moose shows up to push Impact through a table, which is the spot you were referencing, and Kross chokes out Johnny for the win. Doesn't let go immediately, makes it a little bit more. And, this is what I'm talking about, is that, Kross is effectively Moose's manager, and was effectively Austin Aries' manager. And that's kind of where I see this whole thing going, is he would like Impact to be his new pet. His new Paul London, as it were.
Giggity.
And
I need Paul London to... Well, we'll get into that.
That is our action we're going to cover. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Not to the TNA.
All right. Anything else?
Well, we got All Elite we can pontificate about.
That's true. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people who could potentially be leaving. Zack Ryder, Ty Dillinger on that list. The Club.
Any and all people from Lucha Underground.
Yeah, they got to have somewhere to go with Lucha Underground having not figured out what it is they're gonna do. Mind you, that would exclude the people who've kind of found their way to Impact, I would think. Although Impact is pretty talent share happy, so. But they've been pretty talent share happy with people who are not necessarily their competitors, like foreign promotions and people kind of below them. What is their relationship with AEW going to be like? That's the interesting thing. What's ROH's relationship with AEW going to be like? What's New Japan Pro Wrestling's relationship with AEW going to be like?
That's the interesting thing is I think that as far as New Japan goes, Kenny Omega is clearly the keystone. So the reports were that New Japan was not interested. They were just kind of trying to immediately cut AEW out. Like, well, no, you have to do business with us and only us. And if you're gonna go do your own thing, then we're not gonna. You have to stick with us, or we're not gonna play nice. And then Kenny Omega's like, but they're my friends, and I'm gonna go with them. And so the rumors are that New Japan's like, well, we're kind of desperate to keep you, so and so if he signs with AEW, which I'm going to go with 95% of chance he is.
I would agree with that.
So he signs with AEW, and New Japan's like, well, we really, 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 really like you and the Young Bucks, and maybe even Cody too, maybe. Because I think Hangman might have more New Japan cred than Cody.
Probably. I mean, Hangman's been a company guy who's done some things for the company, showed some loyalty to the company, whereas Cody is not, in fairness.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, Cody was signed to ROH, not New Japan. And I'm pretty sure that Hangman was signed to New Japan.
Hangman was definitely doing a lot more in New Japan before I ever saw him in ROH, so I assumed that would be the case.
So that's the thing is the Winnipeg. So the Winnipeg Mafia plus the New Japan connection / New Japan Keystone. If your boy Best Bout Machine goes to AEW, which he's going to. Then does New Japan have to play nice, and they get to do the Young Bucks get to keep doing New Japan stuff, as maybe not as frequently as they are now, but possibly let's say half as much, or maybe even 3/4 as much.
I think we've seen the last of Cody in New Japan, and the reason I say that is not even necessarily based on the relationship, but that Cody is moving into more of a corporate role with AEW. He has actual responsibilities in a nutshell. So I just don't see him flying over to Japan to do dates.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think he will be the one that is AEW exclusive, at least until the promotion is off the ground.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. So it's gonna be, it's welcome to wrestling politics, kids. So the Winnipeg Mafia connection's pretty strong. I assume that Impact and AEW will play nice. That's actually the most solid connection I think that can be made. Now, a lot of these guys have long-standing relationships with ROH as well. I don't see a reason why ROH wouldn't play nice. But I can also see the flip side where Impact is severely threatened by this, and everybody in Impact could instantly go to AEW, and apparently things are really nice and rosy there, at least in the early days. And all the hype that you have behind that sounds really, really peachy, rosy, nice, and keen. So that could be a thing. So Impact might just go under.
That would be my concern as Impact is you're in a very not super stable place. You've just gotten a new TV deal with a network that your owner owns, so probably not as lucrative. Your owner, there have been rumors that the Anthem people are actually looking to divest themselves of the promotion as well.
Oh, I hadn't heard that at all.
They have shot that down and said that there's no truth to that, but it wouldn't be the first time in wrestling that rumors were shot down only to, have actual
be instantly
basis.
True the next day after.
Exactly. So there is that concern. So one would think that if I am Scott D'Amore, Don Callis, I'm a little nervous to play nice with AEW because that might help AEW, and even if AEW's not trying to put me out of business, it might inadvertently equal me going out of business.
Yeah. So there's all that going on. And I mean, depending on how serious the backers are for AEW and all the money in the world they're going to throw behind it or not.
They have the dollar figure that was announced is about $100 million for the first year.
That seems fucking stupid and wrong.
No, well, it could. Here's the question, of course. Looking at this from a business standpoint, are we talking an initial investment of $100 million that's available right away in the first year, but there's no plan to increase that value in the second year? Like, this is $100 million that you've got to work with.
Yeah.
You've got to make that work. There's not additional funds coming in. Because admittedly, if you look at any company, and this goes for legitimately any industry, the most costly year is the first one. Or if it's not, chances are you're going out of business.
Yeah.
Is what that comes down to. But this is going to be the time when they're at the most tenuous, most unpredictable revenue. And, of course, the time where you're going to have to spend the most on contracts, bringing people in. You're probably going to have to overpay for some people off the bat because you're an unproven commodity.
Yep.
And there's also going to be some things that you're going to have to pay for promotionally speaking, and also possibly in terms of assets that you don't necessarily have. So it would make sense that this year would require a massive investment that would taper off as time goes on.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, there are constant rumors as to who else is being signed to All Elite Wrestling.
So what is the current roster that is not outside of the Elite guys?
So we got the Elite, which is Cody, the Young Bucks, Hangman. You got SCU, which is Scorpio Sky, Kazarian, and OMD, Old Man Daniels. You got Chris, AEW is Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
To follow that up, we have Joey Janela, who was at the press conference and clubbed a guy with his crutch, who he's still injured and probably is going to be still on the shelf for another 5 to 6 months.
Well, I think the value of Joey Janela is not even as a wrestler. Not to say that he shouldn't wrestle, but Joey Janela has had a lot of has experience and success with the Joey Janela Spring Break shows.
Yeah,
so
and that's one thing that they said is totally going to be a thing going forward.
He's got more business wrestling experience than anyone else in that room. So that's going to be key.
They got MJF, who you may or may not remember from All In.
Mm-hmm.
They have, to top that off, Pac, who anybody out there listening may or may not know as Neville from Wobbly Wobbly Bee. And from the Orient, from the deepest, darkest Eastern Orient, we have Takahiro Yamamura, who I've never heard of.
Very good wrestler.
T-Hawk. Then as well we have El Lindemann, who I've never heard of, but apparently is pretty good.
Yeah, that's one that's not ringing a bell.
And motherfucking SEMA. Yeah, I thought that might get your dick at least halfway hard.
And then on the ladies' side, you got Britt Baker and anyone else?
Brandy Rhodes and Penelope Ford.
Ah, right. Basically, the other halves of Mr. Janela and Mr. Rhodes.
Yeah. So, and the broadcast team apparently will, for now, consist of Alex Marvez, who I'm not familiar with at all.
It rings a bell, but I'm not recalling specifically.
I think he does a podcast, perhaps. Probably not as good as ours. And then backstage personnel consists of Mr. BJ Whitmer, Dana Massey, Jeff Jones, and some guy named Billy Gunn. I don't know. I'm not familiar.
Monty Soap.
Correct. Corporate staff includes Tony Khan, who everybody sees up front, Sahid Khan, who is lead investor. So that's daddy. That's Tony's daddy. Tony's daddy has the actual money.
Yeah, the Jaguars owner.
Yeah, and Chris Harrington, who I don't know, who is listed as VP of Business Strategy.
Probably some kind of business associate of the Khans.
Yeah, probably. There is big rumor. Well, there's big rumors a la Jericho. Jericho says that there's minimum 2 really big TV deals on the table, and they're negotiating. So I think people are saying they're like 11 months away from TV. They can't wait that long. This is going to be, I swear to God, they're going to have Double or Nothing is going to be May 25th. That means that their TV has to start in June.
July at the latest, I would think.
Absolutely the latest. They're going to have another big event. It's going to be in Jacksonville. They haven't announced dates, names, nothing, zero, zilch. So I assume that Double or Nothing is going to be the kickoff for their TV. And then the next event will be probably sometime in the fall, late fall. Probably after, I have to assume it's going to be after the G1. October, November sort of scenario, I think. I would assume.
That would be my read.
That's pretty much all we got for right now, I think.
And of course, this makes this a very interesting time. What is this going to be? What does this mean for Impact? What does it mean for ROH? What does it mean for New Japan? What does it mean for the WWE? What does it mean for wrestling as a whole? It's a massive Pandora's box. That what comes out of it could be bad, could be good, and we're hoping for the good.
I think it's going to eventually be good. I think we're going to be in for a 5-year plan. If they don't have a 5-year plan, I think it's not going to work. I see in 2 years, AEW might be bigger than Impact and ROH by a debatable margin. That seems to be the most kind of... I would say that would be the best measure of success or measurable growth. If you're slightly bigger, people can say, "Oh, but I don't know, but ROH is doing this, and or Impact is doing this, or maybe Don Callis turns Impact completely around, and AEW is bigger than ROH, but not bigger than Impact, or maybe whoever the fuck is in charge of ROH actually puts fucking money in the hand of people who can sign things." And make things happen in time, because they've lost out on a lot of talent this year because nobody gave money to the hands of the people who needed it in time. Who knows? Anything can happen.
Should be mentioned that the Khans did buy Fulham FC in 2013 for £200 million. So there you go.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. For Fulham?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they're putting £200 million pounds, look that up on the stock exchange. If they're putting £200 million behind a football team in England, that means so much more than I can explain right now to you in your face. If they're willing to put the rumored $100 million you mentioned behind AEW, that's bullshit. That cannot happen. You can't do that. That's not gonna unless you think right now you're gonna take a gun and put it right in Vince McMahon's mouth and pull the trigger between here and next November. $100 million is horse shit. You can't put that kind of money behind a fledgling wrestling promotion anywhere in the world. You can't do that.
I think you can if you're ready to deal with our good friend Mr. Vince McMahon.
You listen. They can do it. I have
a lot of money. It's a lot of money we're talking about here.
I have a lot of hope. I don't know if I have confidence, but it's bordering on confidence. But I have a lot of hope that the wrestling business minds that are the Young Bucks. Cody's fine. Cody has insight into what Wobbly Wobbly B does, so he's 1 foot in that grave. But he can pull the dark knowledge out of that retarded nonsense morass and see what they did wrong and do it better. That if that can happen, plus the minds of the Young Bucks, plus Papa Buck, plus Kenny Omega doing Kenny Omega things, and Hangman Page quickly becoming the new guy that you really should have signed, and you're kicking yourself right in the fucking anus that you didn't. If that all comes together with $100 million, Jesus Christ. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to be like that. You can't expect that to be the truth.
Yeah, well, I mean, frankly, we don't know what to expect through this whole thing. This is arguably the biggest mystery in the history of wrestling right now.
Yeah, well, if you want some more mystery, throw Christopher Daniels in the mix. Christopher Daniels is in the mix right now. Christopher Daniels is possibly one of the greatest wrestling minds of a generation, of 2 generations. And he's involved. He's, made noises and hints and gestures towards his career's coming to an end, which, to be fair, he has more than earned. That guy is fantastic. He has done so much in his career with so many different wrestlers. And what if the Wrestle Talk brought it up, I think it was Luke Owen said, what if they open a wrestling school? They've got OMD.
Yep.
Holy shit.
That would absolutely be a thing to go for.
Yeah. So, the sky is the limit, but my expectation also has very hard limits. I've seen what startups do, and they're 9 times out of 10, they don't do anything. They're like, hi-ya! And then they fall over dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
just as an interesting aside, there is a guy on the Fulham FC with the last name Skrull.
Nice. Here's hoping that's all tied in together. So, I mean, I have very high hopes, but my expectations are much lower than my hopes.
I would say I legitimately don't have expectations. In order for me to have expectations, I have to have some clue of what's going to happen. And we're on the decision tree here. We're at the fork in the road, and there are just too many pathways. I don't know.
That's true. But I will point to one particular pathway that they set on fire and then pissed on the ashes. Is when they were doing All In, Vince Russo was making a shit ton of noise about a shit ton of things, including a shit ton of All In, and wanting to do a thing with them. And Cody's like, eat shit, die, and go kill yourself, as well as probably not exist anymore. You are banned from the building. Just do not. Not.
There was a time where, and what I'm about to say is still relatively true, where I thought that a promotion could use Vince Russo. I want to put a lot of caveats on that, though. He does not have ultimate control.
He doesn't have any control.
He is there just to pitch. To pitch. That is all.
I want. So okay, here's what I want. You ready for this?
Yes.
I want Impact to rehire Vince Russo. And they also have Disco Inferno still under contract. I want those two in a room spitballing ideas. I want it all recorded, 100% recorded, front to back, 24/7. Anything they come up with, I want it recorded and dictated and whatever and transcribed. And you hand it to Crazy Steve. And Crazy Steve gets to do what the fuck he wants with any of that total ridiculous circus of the brain retardation.
That would be fun.
That would be the best. And they never get to go anywhere near the building? Well, okay, Disco does. Disco gets to show up at the building. Disco's fun as shit. Come on. But they don't get to book anything they're doing, and Russo never gets to leave his own house. And Disco shows up and gets to do fun stuff because that somebody else has written. And then Crazy Steve just gets to do Crazy Steve stuff.
I'm fine with all the above.
Yeah, boy.
I think that's our show for today. We've now gone over 80 minutes. I thought this was going to be a very much shorter show.
Well, I try and fill in with as much bullshit as I can.
Well, I mean, when it comes to AEW speculation, we can go on for hours.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is all for this week. Tune in next week. We'll be doing NXT. We'll be doing Impact again. Probably some ROH. Is there anything on the horizon that might be added to that?
There might be a New Japan show, but I think that might be early February.
All right. With that in mind, have a good night, everybody, and hope you enjoyed. And obviously,
Con!
Well, I was going to say con and get off of Byron's lawn.
Con!